On this episode of China Uncensored, are you going to Scarborough Shoal? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme? Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. The United States did something incredibly shocking and outrageous last Friday. They sent a ship through the ocean. The South China Sea, to be exact, near here, the Paracel Islands. They're about 200 miles from the coast of mainland China, and steering a ship near there is totally and completely legal, because it's international waters. Unless you're the Chinese regime, and the Paracel Islands are actually the Shisha Islands, which have been China's sacred territory since ancient times. Oh dear. So I'm wondering the same thing this reporter is.
Are you concerned at all that China will view this as a provocative act?
They shouldn't. I guess you'd have to ask them for a response. They shouldn't, because this is a principle that reflects what we believe is the broad interest of the international community.
So how did the Chinese regime respond? By saying it will never allow the U.S. to run amok in the South China Sea. The U.S. is the real troublemaker in the South China Sea. That's according to an editorial in the People's Daily, the official newspaper of the Communist Party, and republished in English by my favorite state-run media, the Global Times. You see, the People's Daily knows that the U.S. is just a little depressed right now, and the destroyer was a way to release its depression.
Are you feeling depressed, uninspired by your leadership and dominance over other countries? Talk to your doctor about hegemonib. Hegemonib is clinically proven to release your depression. Side effects may include provocation, hostility, running amok, and overturning the trend of peaceful development as defined by the Communist Party of China.
I'm going to have to ask my doctor about that one. Anyway, the People's Daily goes on to point out America's questionable timing, just when China and the Philippines were restoring their ties. It's almost like the People's Daily is implying that America is the jealous ex trying to cause trouble during the Philippines' first date with China. You know what this means. The People's Daily watches China Uncensored. Yes, Filipino President Rodrigo Duterte visited China last week and made it very clear that things are changing. You can tell he was serious because he wore a tie.
America has lost me. And will I realign myself in your ideological flow, and maybe I will also go to Russia to talk to Putin and tell him that there are three of us against the world: China, Philippines, and Russia. It's the only way.
As much as I would love to watch that sitcom, somehow I don't think that's going to happen. The Philippines had been a major thorn in the Chinese regime's side over the South China Sea territorial dispute. But that's changed after the Philippines elected Duterte. He said the Philippines can't win. And that attitude might just be giving Duterte what he wants. According to Reuters, quoting sources inside China, China would consider giving Philippine fishermen conditional access to disputed waters. And sure, it sounds like a great deal. Get permission from China to fish in waters a UN tribunal just ruled belong to the Philippines, as well as promises of $24 billion in loans and investments. This could set a precedent for the other countries involved in territorial disputes with China over the South China Sea. Stick to your guns and keep claiming the territory and end up with nothing. Or give in to the Chinese regime in exchange for at least some limited rights, and maybe some money as well. So how is the U.S. reacting to all of this? Well, other than sending a destroyer through the South China Sea, they're totally cool with China and the Philippines' new bromance. And maybe the U.S. and the Philippines can still be friends. Aw, guess we need to make some room on the sitcom couch. Japan, you want to get in here too? See, territorial disputes aren't that bad after all. The Philippines should be Phoebe. What's that, Shelley? Phoebe. So what do you think of the U.S. running amok in the South China Sea? Leave your comments below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.